in Python, there's four basic method structures. The first one is a no argument, no return structure. Let me show you how to make one. To create a method, we type in def to define it, and then we give it a name. This method is going to be very simple, and it's simply going to print a message. As I type in the open and close bracket, you notice that it will autofill this word self, which is required for all of the methods that are built inside of a class. I'll explain more about that in the next lesson. In this print message, all I'm going to have the program do is simply print out hello world. You saw me do this in the last tutorial, but I just wanted to remind you about it here. In this case, what I mean by no return is that the word return does not appear inside of it. Return sends information back out to whoever accessed this method to send back information to the caller. However, this message is just simply going to print things. And when I say no argument, it means I've added no extra content inside of here. Technically, self doesn't count because it always has to be here. So it is an argument, but it's not one that we add. If I added an argument, it would have some more content after a comma. But there's no information this method needs, and there's no information this method returns. It simply performs its basic functionality. Let's take a look at it running. Over here, I'm going to, from messages, import this chatbot, which is what I'm calling this class over here. And now what I can do is I can create my chatbot by instantiating it, like so. And now when I type in chatbot and hit a dot, I can run my print message method. Let's run my program and see that my new class is created. Oh, this is a leftover from last day. This should now be a chatbot. I left it over from the previous one. I didn't edit it. Chatbot class created, and then it reports the message hello world. Let's move on to type 2. In this type, we have an argument but no return. Let's define this as say hi to me. I want to make this chatbot say hi to me. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have it receive my name. And what this chatbot is now going to do is it's going to print a message to me, hello. And I want it to be able to say my name afterwards. So how do I do this? Well, there's a few different ways that you can add or concatenate information into strings in Python. My favorite way is to type F for format, and then put a squiggly inside where you want the name to appear, and this refer to the variable inside of that. So it's going to inject what's held in the variable in this place instead of the original string value. So hello name should actually take my name in and have the chatbot say hello to me directly. How beautiful. Let's erase this here, and now when I press dot, I'll see this say hi to me. And when I mouse over here, notice it says self chatbot name. This is bolded in white. This means it's what it's expecting. So I'm going to call this Mr. Rowell for the name. Run my program. Hello, Mr. Rowell is now run. That chatbot has now used the data I sent it in its reply. Awesome. Okay, no argument, but a return. Let's define a new method here, and maybe in this case, what I want to have is the chatbot to actually send back some piece of information that I can hold on to, something kind of tangible that I can assign to some object. Maybe what I want to have is a send secret message. And what this is going to do is it's going to send to whoever calls it something that's not printed out to the console, because that would be too loud and too obvious, but it's going to whisper back a secret message that I can store for later. Only that my little hidden variable can hold it. So what I'm going to do is, instead of printing the content, I'm going to return the content. And what is it I'm going to return? Well, what the secret message is, I love you. They're a little bit of a shy bot, and it's just telling me I love you secretly. So you'll notice that if you're familiar with Java, I love you is a string type piece of data. But I didn't have to type string anywhere here. In Java, we actually have to state the type of return data that's being sent. But in Python, since everything is just recognized at runtime, you don't actually have to define the type at all. It doesn't really matter what the type is. It's just sending back this information. So what am I going to do with this? I'm going to have my chatbot, once again, now take a look at all of the possible methods I could run. And here I have the send secret message. And so what's going to happen when I run this? The chatbot gets created, but nothing is actually going to pop out, because the return means that me running this is actually sending information back, which I could ignore. I can just choose to not listen or plug my ears, so to say, in this metaphor. But what I can also do is say message received equals whatever the secret message the chatbot said was. And now what I can do is just betray its confidence and just say to everybody what the message was that I received. Now the I love you is printed out because I printed the contents of the message I received because I assigned it to a variable. I could even just print it directly if I wanted to, and it should work all the same. Print the message I receive. But the return means it's kicking back some information that I can kind of grab onto in my main runner here. I store it to a variable if I want, or work with it in any which way I want, but there is something being sent back out from this. And our final type that actually accepts something and returns it, I want it to do my homework. And what I want it to do is take in a num1 and num2, and I want this chatbot to do my homework for me. And so the chatbot's going to say, maybe, when this is called, it's going to say, okay, I'm happy to help with that. And one little thing here, what's going on with this weird formatting? Well, this is a apostrophe, and I have my string formed with apostrophes. So there's a little trick you can use in Python, which is strings can be formed with apostrophes or quotation marks. So if we're going to use an apostrophe inside of it, what I can do is just actually surround it with quotation marks instead, so that it kind of ignores the apostrophe inside of it. It goes, okay, you want that to be text. So I can mix and match these as I need to with the types of content I have around it. Okay, so it's happy to help me with that. And what it's going to do is it's going to return num1 plus num2. It's going to perform this for me. It's a very smart bot, and it's going to return to me the total of these things. So I'm just going to run this all in one line. Hey, chatbot, do my homework, and I want you to add a really hard one like 6 and 9. Why did I choose those numbers? 6 and 2. You didn't pay attention to that. 6 and 2. And so what I'm going to do now is have it do my homework. Okay, I'm happy to help you with that. And the answer is 8. Wonderful. So I have a method that is able to receive arguments. This time it received 2 arguments. You can put as many of these as you want. And then it took those arguments and returned back a result from it and reported it back to whoever called this. So methods are basically as simple as that. You have 4 different options, or 4 different like forms, although technically with as many arguments as you can receive, there's an infinite number of possible ways you can structure them. And they are the behaviors, the modular behaviors that you're building in your code that you can run over and over and over again. If I wanted to have my chatbot, let's copy and paste this, I can make my chatbot do my homework as many times as I want. I can just give different numbers in here, and the chatbot is happy to help every time I call it, and he's just going to do that behavior and send back that number. And if I wanted to, I can actually store this in a variable, lots of different combinations. And one final reminder of things here is that we're not limited to just working with classes in Python. You can actually make, well, functions that are outside of the class. So one thing I can do here is just define, now this is not the chatbot anymore, but maybe I just want to have a non-sentient message. And what this function is going to do is it's simply just going to return, I can just do a return here if I want to, I am not sentient, because this is just a message from the ether, not attached to any object or any conception of a thing. It's just some message that's going to be returned to me. So how do I access this? Well, I need to actually just import my messages file now, my module, and now I can print my messages module, and I can access that non-sentient message. And if I run this, I get I am not sentient being sent back. So I can actually use all the same patterns from my methods to create functions outside of classes as well. Otherwise, the rules apply all the same. In the next video, kind of the final part of this section, I'm going to be showing you how to make more sense of what this self thing means, and help you get a better conceptual sense of a whole bunch of little details in Python. See you then.